World of Warcraft Classic, a game so perfect not even the haters of the recent WoW can hate on it.
What other great MMOs are there besides WoW?
So I decided to embark on my own Classic journey while incidentally playing the worst class in Classic. It all started in the character create screen, where I was immediately greeted by tech time and fumbled around the races until I ended up on Dwarf. Eventually I make him look like every poser motorcyclist with daddy issues. Anyway, I picked Paladin as he has a big hammer, which is very cool. I had no clue what to name this absolute unit, so I decided to rely on something I'm not very proud of. That might be the worst name I have ever. I click the big shiny enter world button and I'm immediately greeted by my add-ons. You may be asking, Keefernagnix, why do you already have add-ons? Well, me and my dad started playing Classic WoW together. Initially, we leveled together, but eventually my inner degenerate kicked in, and I kept staying up all night, so the level difference is... well, I'm level 44 and he's... What level are you?
34. Almost 35 in about another half hour.
Needless to say, I needed a break. So instead of a break, I'm just gonna do it all again on a different type of character. Yay! Anyway, back to the scheduled programming. As I walk through the pile of stationary AI, I see a funny-looking man trying to get me to give him some meat. I obviously say yes and embark on my wolf-killing journey. I wonder why they say Paladin is boring. It seems pretty engaging to me. I then immediately forget to hit the record button before hitting level 2. I'm sure this won't happen again, and get enough meat to please the funny-looking man. He gives me a pair of gloves, which will help me handle his mother, and enough experience to give me 1/10 of a level. If you've never played an MMO before, consider yourself lucky. Leveling up happens when this big bar fills up all the way, and each level you get stronger and unlock new abilities. If you knew that, I'm not sorry for wasting your time. I hit level 3 for turning in another quest, and I was told to beat up a bunch of flanky trolls. So of course I began pushing their genocide. As I'm doing this very moral and good deed, I see a level 60 mage that's even shorter than me. So I say what's up and make sure he's not part of any affiliated gangs. This basically means I'm begging for him to give me an intellect buff as he's a mage, which he does comply. This world definitely feels massive, multiplayer, and online. From killing a boar, I hit level 4. Dr. Seuss, what are you doing here? I then proceed to give an alcoholic man a drink during his day shift. Eventually, I shift back into committing mass genocide and kill more bum, good-for-nothing trolls as I suddenly hit level 5. This is going quite quickly, unlike my bitrate in these first clips as I was using the wrong recording settings. I'm sorry, I promise it gets better later in the video. I leave the tutorial zone and step into the meat and potatoes of Morogh, or however you pronounce it. I wonder why this got 3 out of 5 stars.
Morogh.
Oh, that's why. Delivering Grellin's Diary of a Wimpy Kid fanfiction to Senir secures me a 6th level up, and I go into town to begin some harder quests and choose my profession. I decided to go with engineering and mining for my professions, as I think my character could do a pretty good cosplay as the Unabomber. But of course, I forget to buy a pickaxe, so I can't even start mining yet. I also attempted to do a live commentary of attempting to explain my abilities, but I'm pretty sure it makes no sense to anyone except clinically insane people, also known as Paladin mains. I have 2 buffs. I have this Devotion Aura, which makes me have more armor, and then I have this Blessing of Might, which makes me do more damage. Then I use this move called Seal of the Crusader. Basically, think of it like a timer, and the further the timer goes down, the less damage you do using it, so you want to use the beginning of it. Basically, I just stand there and then I auto-attack the person. Through questing more, I hit level 7 and collect herbs for a man who swears they're for medicine. I'm not sure why he kept saying that. I continued through
Morogh
and was told to start another genocide, this time on gnomes. Obviously, I was going to comply. Oh, I leveled. Now that that's out of my system, I went to make the pilgrimage to the dwarven capital, Ironforge. Going into Ironforge, I immediately saw some bum who thinks he's the Lord of Ironforge. Yeah, we'll see about that, buddy. I turn in the game's excuse for me to go to the capital and take the free public transport to take me to the main Alliance capital, Stormwind. This is when the game clearly shifted from RPG to MMORPG, and on the final minutes of my trash OBS recording settings, my CPU was having a seizure. The game looks like I'm role-playing the true vanilla WoW Dell computer experience back in the 1800s or whenever this game came out. Soon after, I made my way down to Goldshire, south of Stormwind, where I'm kindly gifted a nice pair of pants by a fellow insane person. I express my true feelings, and it turns out English might not be his strong suit. I then go onto a mine in order to steal pure gold dust for snorting, and large candles from innocent rat-looking creatures. But look guys, I pulled 3 mobs at once and didn't die. After I turned in those quests, I was suddenly invited to join a sort of goon squad? I've watched enough TikTok to know I don't want to be a part of any orgies, so I decide to humbly decline. I made my way up to Princess the Boar, who really turned out to be something that coincidentally rhymed with boar, as she had fellow goons in her squad. This means I would have to take out 2 regular boars along with Princess. With the closest battle yet, I come out on top and retrieve the necklace she stole from a little girl. Oh, also, during this time I hit level 10. Where's the footage? I'm sure this won't happen again. At level 10, you unlock specializations. Specializations are basically a tree full of squares you get to pick from depending on what kind of character you want to play. You can be a healing baby who heals their allies, a DPS brainlet who tries to top the damage charts, or a cool tank who takes all the damage. Of course I'm gonna go with tank, cause then I'd be cool, but it turns out paladin tanking isn't extremely viable. Do I care? No. Now with my bitrate issues fixed, I turn level 11 after turning in a bunch of homeless men's bandanas, and I'm feeling more confident than ever. Let's go. Dingiest, ringiest, bruh. With this newfound confidence, I decided to tell the entire merfolk village to use deodorant. So by pure instinct, they all swarmed me at once. I guess they spent too much time on Discord as they couldn't quite catch up to me. Back in Goldshire, some man made me invisibility liquor that I couldn't even use, so naturally I stared him down as I walked away. While doing all of these quests, I had been collecting resources to finally craft bombs, so I was prepared for the rough missions ahead. Now prepared, I headed west to go out and kill Hogger. While there, some man asked me if I wanted to help him kill a rare mob that had spawned, so of course I agreed. We decimated this guy and I asked him if he could help me with the big bad Hogger. He complies, which is a mistake. Since I was not a holy baby, I refused to heal him, so... No. I passed the charisma check and I'm off scot-free with the quest complete. By turning in Hogger's Brethren's armbands, I turn level 12 and head west to Westfall in order to be able to fly back here later. I use my cool tank skills and bombs in order to take out another boss man for a quest on the way to Red Ridge Mountains out east. I decided to go to Red Ridge in order to fly here later as well. On my way there was a high-level troll shaman that decided my fun privileges would be revoked. Little did he know, he actually gave me a shortcut by sending me to the graveyard. I'm pretty sure this is the nicest thing a Horde player has ever done. With my rivalry with trolls solidified, I returned to Stormwind and decided to check out the auction house for a new weapon. I immediately found a fairly cheap upgrade that would carry me through the next few levels. After my impulse purchase, I decided to reflect by taking the public transport between Stormwind and Ironforge again. I arrive in Ironforge to clean up some turn-ins for quests, which I level from, and head to the next area I would be leveling, Loch Modan. Before that, however, I had an old lady tell me to kill a yeti that was already being assassinated by a fellow clinical person. I invite him to my group to share credit and help my padded room fellow out. For doing this deed, the lady gives me a very big and strong hammer. But since I'm a tank, I wouldn't let myself succumb to the temptation of using a two-handed weapon instead of a shield. I arrive in Loch Modan, grab as many quests as I can, and talk to the flight master so I can fly back to Ironforge later. While enacting more genocide, I hit level 14. When telling Stormpike, what is with these names, Stormpike? When telling Stormpike about my mass genocide, he immediately awarded me with a choice between a decent chestplate or a solid shield. I chose the shield because by comparison, it was the better upgrade, and then I headed out to continue my genocide. When I had completed making each mob in western Loch Modan endangered, I returned to Ironforge, where some bum taught me how to revive people. I'm sure this won't be useful. Back in Loch Modan, more monotonous genocide pursued, leading me to hitting the milestone of level 15. Soon after, while still completing these tasks, I was invited to a guild. I immediately knew. It says iron. It says iron in the name. I had to join. I am instantaneously greeted in cult-like fashion, and I know this is the perfect guild for me. A low population guild that would actually let me tank as a paladin. These messages must have distracted me, as it immediately led to a close call, but don't worry. Soon after I got tetanus while having a fist fight with a bird. Another person joined the guild, so I decided to join in on the cult-like activities. I was told it was the highlight of my day. After selling extra gear to an absolute baddie, I make my first ever gold and immediately buy back the copper ingots. After dying because I forgot I had resurrection sickness, which makes you extremely weak after you revive yourself at a graveyard, my morale for the day was dropping. Oh, I'm res sick. Oh my god. I pressed forward and completed all I could at my current level in Loch Modan, so I headed back to Ironforge. When I turned in my last quest in Ironforge, I made it to level 16. I used the public transport to head all the way back to Stormwind, so I could go to Westfall and start preparing for my first ever dungeon. I start off in Westfall by grabbing a bunch of odd jobs around the town. There was a lady who made me pick up oats. I had to kill 20 mech harvest golems and get okra off of their corpses. I was also told to harvest vulture meat, boar snouts, and even murloc eyes. All of this was very confusing and tedious to me, so when I was finally told to continue genocide, but this time on a gang, I was finally certain I was leveling in the right area. While going on my rampage, I end up recklessly dying to a Defias looter. These Defias had just declared war. At this point, I knew I'd have to eradicate any Defias I saw. To continue the questline in order to eradicate this gang, I had to travel west to the Red Ridge Mountains. I knew talking to the flight master here earlier would be helpful later on. From Red Ridge, I immediately had to travel back to Westfall, and right after to Stormwind. All of this was done to unlock the main quest for the dungeon I'm going to do very shortly. For one final time, I returned back to Westfall, only to be given the most annoying quest in this stupid game. I would have to run up and down this extremely long road until I run to a random NPC that probably won't even spot. Oh, he's right there. After executing the messenger, I brought the message back to Grian. Grian? What are these? And a man who betrayed the Defias gang leads me to where the hideout is. However, he walks so slow I genuinely leapfrogged my entire way there. I think I'm going insane. I have to run all the way back from the hideout and talk to Grian. I have to run all the way back to the hideout and talk to Green again to finally unlock the main dungeon quest for the first dungeon I would be completing, the deadmines. Before I would do the dungeon, however, I told myself I would have to hit level 20, as there was a certain ability I wanted to unlock. I hit level 18 while partaking in some of the aforementioned genocide on some Defias scum. I moved my way to the coast and end up talking to a literal ghost. If this game isn't realistic, I'm not sure if real life is. He tells me to kill an ungodly amount of murlocs, give him some oil, and kill a boss man murloc that runs along the coast. I had a mage that started helping me, so I decided to group with him. But soon after, I went out to take my dogs on a walk. When I got back, he was there, waiting for me. Now that I had my own personal pocket mage, I get through these quests with ease, and now everything in Westfall besides the deadmines was complete. Since I still wanted to hit level 20 before I did the dungeon, I decided to go over to the Red Ridge Mountains and do some quests there. I don't want to harp on this too long because it was very uninteresting. I get a full tour of Red Ridge while killing boars, condors, gnolls. What is a gnoll? Spiders, and horde playing bullies apparently. Bro has no friends, oh my god. I turned in all of the lower level quests I was able to do, and while doing so, I made it to level 19. I couldn't really do anything else in Redridge at my level, so I decided to make one more pit stop to get to level 20. It began by traveling back to Loch Modan and making this epic run to the wetlands, the least epic area in the game. I then proceed to run a full marathon, making it all the way across the wetlands to Menethil Harbor. From Menethil Harbor, I can take a boat that leads all the way to Ashenville, which is on a whole different continent. All of the quests in Ashenville are brain dead easy, so after an hour of questing, I did it. I literally just realized while editing this, but I forgot to grab the fast travel to both the wetlands and to Ashenvale. How brain dead I'm being level 20, I'm now prepared for the deadmines. The ability I was talking about earlier? Oh, I can make the ground yellow now. Deadmines next episode, baby.